Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. We're here to cut through the noise and get you informed fast. Today, we're zeroing in on a company that's been making waves in the travel sector, particularly in China. We're talking about Atour Lifestyle Holdings, and specifically what to watch for in their upcoming earnings report. We know you're busy, so our mission is to deliver the key insights you need to understand what's happening with this stock before the market opens. If you find value in our discussions, please maybe consider subscribing, liking, and leaving us a comment. Your support truly helps us bring you more of these analyses. And hey, if there's a specific company you'd like us to look into, just leave it in the comments below.
Okay, so we've gone through a stack of articles, research, company reports, really trying to get the most important nuggets on Atour Lifestyle Holdings as they gear up for their Q2 2025 earnings.
Absolutely. And it's a really interesting situation, A company operating in such a dynamic market. We've definitely extracted some clear points for anyone observing this sector to keep an eye on.
Okay, so let's set the stage. What exactly is Atour Lifestyle Holdings, and when is their Q2 report actually hitting the wires?
Right. So we're talking about Atour Lifestyle Holdings, ticker AT8. Their Q2 2025 earnings report is scheduled for Tuesday, August 26, 2025, and specifically, it's before the U.S. market opens around 7:00 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time. So yeah, it's a definite red letter day for anyone tracking the stock.
Got it. 7 a.m. Eastern, August 26th. And what's the market consensus looking like? What are analysts hoping they'll achieve this quarter?
The analyst consensus is fairly clear. They're looking for revenue around $326.0 million and an earnings per share, or EPS, of $0.41. What's kind of notable here is that for ATAT, we haven't really seen a widely published whisper number, that unofficial, sometimes higher earnings estimate that can circulate among investors. So these consensus figures, they're really the main benchmark for what the company needs to hit.
Okay, that sets a clear target. Did Atour itself provide any forward-looking guidance for Q2? Give us any hints.
Not really a formal update, no. Or a revision for Q2 2025 in their recent reports. Management's comments from the previous quarter mostly focused on, the stable demand recovery in China's travel sector and what they called solid pipeline execution. So we'll be paying close attention to see if they provide a more specific outlook this time around, or maybe just reaffirm those broader trends.
Okay, interesting. So let's dig into their past performance then. What kind of patterns, maybe surprises, does Atour's history reveal about their ability to meet or even beat expectations?
Well, this is where it gets quite striking, actually. Their consistent track record. Atour has actually outperformed consensus expectations on EPS in each of the last 4 quarters.
Every single one.
Every single one. That's a 100% beat rate, according to Zacks. For example, back in Q1 2025, their EPS came in at $0.33 against an expected $0.32, so a 3% beat. And it's not just EPS. Revenue has also consistently exceeded analyst expectations over the past 4 quarters. This isn't just, a good streak. It suggests either Atour's management provides very conservative guidance, maybe, or perhaps analysts consistently underestimate their execution. For you, the investor, it points to a company that seems to have a knack for under-promising and over-delivering, which, that can be a significant advantage in a volatile sector like travel.
That kind of consistency is certainly noteworthy.
Oh.
So if they've been consistently outperforming, does that translate directly into sustained market gains? Or is there more nuance in how the stock responds?
Yeah, it's often nuanced. On the last couple of beats, the stock has typically seen moderate price gaps higher, usually in the 3 to 7% range right after the report.
Okay.
And these initial gains generally held into the next few sessions, which is positive.
Yeah.
However, there was usually some retracement, profit taking, often within about a week.
Oh, okay.
So it suggests initial enthusiasm, definitely, but maybe also a watchful eye from the market as investors digest the full report and think about the broader context.
Right, makes sense. Beyond just those headline numbers, the EPS and revenue, what underlying business metrics have been telling the story of Atour's growth? What's driving it?
Well, we've seen sustained double-digit year-over-year top-line revenue growth. That's a powerful indicator of demand and their ability to capture it.
Double digits, yeah.
Exactly. Their gross margins have also been steadily improving. They're currently reported above 35%. And critically, for any hotelier, right, their net new properties continue to expand. This is a strong indicator of their pipeline strength and future growth. It shows they're not just improving existing operations, but actively scaling, investing for the long term.
That strong track record really paints a clear picture of their operational execution.
Yeah.
Okay, now zooming out a bit, Were there any external forces or maybe company-specific announcements during the quarter that could have amplified or dampened that momentum?
Yeah, during the quarter, one key piece of news was the authorization of a new stock repurchase program. That was back in May 2025.
Okay, a buyback.
Exactly. And this isn't just boilerplate stuff. It often suggests management sees real value in the current share price. It could signal they believe the market is still undervaluing the recovery potential, especially given the whole macro climate.
Interesting signal.
Yeah. Aside from that, there weren't really any major acquisitions or big headline strategic shifts reported for this specific quarter, so the focus seemed to remain squarely on operational execution.
And what about the broader environment? How are the sector and the overall macroeconomic conditions, especially in China, shaping up during Q2?
Well, the Chinese domestic travel and hospitality sectors definitely continued their robust rebound post-pandemic.
Right.
That's a significant tailwind for Atour, directly boosting things like occupancy and booking volumes. However, it's not entirely clear skies. Industry observers have noted some potential macro headwinds.
Such as?
Things like potential regulatory or tourism restrictions, maybe changes in travel policies that could impact booking volumes, for instance, and also some economic softness in certain urban markets. This latter point is pretty crucial because even with a national rebound, specific high-density areas key for business travel or luxury leisure might be underperforming. That could directly hit Atour's key locations.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But on the positive side, interest rates and inflation in China have remained relatively benign compared to, say, Western markets, which generally supports consumer discretionary spending. And that's obviously crucial for a travel company.
Right. A bit of a mixed bag then on the macro front. So, given all this, how have analysts been viewing Atour Lifestyle Holdings through it all? What's the sentiment?
Analyst coverage has been generally constructive, largely positive, actually. They often highlight what they see as a favorable valuation when compared to global travel peers, and they tend to emphasize Atour's ability to outperform in a recovery scenario within China. While there haven't been widely reported target changes in August specifically, the general consensus saw price targets raised moderately after their Q1 earnings print, so that reflects ongoing optimism about their execution, despite those macro nuances we talked about.
Okay, optimism tempered by reality. Now, turning to the technical side of things, how has the stock actually been performing leading up to this report? And maybe more interestingly, what's the options market telling us about expected price movements?
Sure. The stock's been trading near its 52-week highs. That high is around $37.46, and it's currently sitting at $34.87. It's been in a pretty solid uptrend since the Q1 earnings report, with the price sort of consolidating just below those highs.
Right near the top then.
Exactly. This technical setup indicates that, well, elevated expectations are probably already baked into the price heading into this release. It suggests the market is anticipating good news.
Okay, so expectations are clearly high.
Yeah.
What about volatility then? How much of a swing is the market actually preparing for with this report?
Yeah, the options market is pricing in a move of approximately plus or minus 7 to 8% for this earnings event.
7 to 8%. Wow.
Yeah, this is inferred from recent price action and just looking at sector norms, and it really suggests investors are anticipating a significant reaction, whether it's up or down. There's definitely an expectation of increased hedging, maybe speculative activity ahead of this report, given that kind of implied volatility.
All right, let's consider the possibilities then. What would a truly bullish outcome look like for Atour? And conversely, what would constitute a bearish one?
Okay, for a bullish scenario, you'd be looking for that classic beat and raise, right? That means EPS and revenue coming in, say, 5% or more above consensus. Combined with management either raising their full-year guidance or strongly reiterating confidence in their growth trajectory. Key positives within that would include an acceleration in net room growth, really showing that expansion pipeline is firing on all cylinders, and maybe further margin expansion exceeding that 35% mark we mentioned. That would signal really strong momentum.
Okay, beat, raise, strong underlying metrics. And on the flip side, what would trigger a negative reaction? What sends the stock lower?
Well, a bearish case would involve an earnings miss, either EPS or revenue falling below consensus, or just weak forward commentary.
Guidance being key.
Exactly. Specifically, if guidance is revised lower because of those macro or sector headwinds we talked about, like slowing discretionary spending or that urban demand softness, that would be a significant concern for the market. Also, adverse surprises and cost inflation or maybe occupancy trends slipping, those directly impact profitability for a hotelier, so they would also weigh heavily on the stock.
Understood. Now, if you had to pick just one key metric The single most important thing you'll be watching most closely in this report, what would it be?
Okay, if we connect this to the bigger picture, their long-term strategy, the single most important metric for me will probably be net new hotel openings and pipeline growth.
The expansion, yeah.
Precisely. This really underpins their medium-term growth strategy. It directly translates into future revenue and market share expansion. Investors are definitely monitoring it for continued expansion, so any signs of a slowdown there would be a red flag. Conversely, acceleration would be a strong positive, confirming that growth narrative.
Okay, pipeline growth is the one to watch.
Yeah.
So summing it all up then, what's the overall leaning for Atour Lifestyle Holdings heading into this report? And, what kind of confidence level do we have in that assessment?
The overall leaning is, I'd say, bullish. The market structure, the fundamentals, they really do seem to support an upside skew. But, and this is important, it comes with higher than average volatility risk. We saw that with the options market pricing.
Right, that's 7-8%.
Exactly. So on a confidence scale, maybe a 7 out of 10. The company's consistent track record, those sector tailwinds, they definitely favor a positive result. But the elevated expectations already baked in and that lingering macro uncertainty, they temper absolute conviction.
A 7 out of 10, bullish, but with caveats. Given that assessment, what are some potential strategies for different types of investors? Someone considering this stock around earnings, depending on their risk appetite.
Absolutely. That's a key question. For the more risk-averse investor, maybe considering waiting for confirmation post-earnings makes sense. Or perhaps hedging any existing long exposure with protective puts. Think of them like an insurance policy against a sharp drop. That might be prudent.
Okay, wait or hedge.
Right. For the more risk-tolerant investor, maybe pre-earnings, deep out-of-the-money call spreads that involves buying and selling calls at different strike prices that could capitalize on a sharp upside move, but with a defined risk. Alternatively, straddle or strangle positions buying both calls and puts to profit from a large move in either direction. They might benefit from a big volatility expansion, given that implied plus-minus 7-8% move we talked about.
Playing the volatility itself.
Exactly. And then for long-term investors, the strong fundamentals could still support a buy-the-dip strategy on any post-earnings weakness. Provided, of course, there isn't a material downward revision to guidance. That's the key qualifier.
Lots of options depending on your view and risk tolerance. It really sounds like Atour Lifestyle Holdings is poised for an interesting earnings report. You've got that clear history of beating expectations, but also the market pricing in a pretty significant move. So plenty of potential opportunity or risk.
Indeed. It's a prime example of how even a strong track record doesn't eliminate the volatility that's just inherent in earnings season, especially when expectations are already running high and the macro environment has its nuances.
Definitely. So as we look ahead to August 26th, perhaps the real insight isn't just about whether AT beats or misses. Maybe it's more about what this report reveals, about the broader recovery, the resilience of the Chinese travel sector overall. What new opportunities or challenges might that signal for other players in the global hospitality market, and perhaps even for consumer trends more broadly? Something to chew on until next time.